I'm a Real Life Trucker is a podcast series presented by appsfortruckers.com in association with livetrucking.com. We interview professional drivers about their lives, their jobs, and various views about the industry. Interviews use first names only and no company names so that drivers can feel open about their history and views. This is Tim Spence with Apps for Truckers, and you're listening to
I'm a Real Life Trucker.
episode number 4.
My name is Edgar. I'm 35 years old.
Now, Edgar, I know that you have had a varied amount of experience in the industry, so tell us where you're living and a little bit about your career so far.
Okay, so I'm based out of Southern California. I've been driving since 2007. I started driving locally, and in the year 2013, I started going over the road, delivering furniture from store to store. So just doing the Western states, Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturday. So I was usually home on the weekends, and that's what I had going on until just less than a year ago, I got this position where I'm a spotter now. I work in the yard, moving trailers around, and I'm home every day now, so loving it.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Edgar.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Los Angeles, born in USC Medical Center, and my mom and my parents were born in Mexico, and I have a sister that was born in Mexico and she stayed there. So it was just basically me, mom, and dad, and just regular childhood fun. That's about it. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, it's nothing out of the ordinary for Edgar. Tell us something about how your childhood may differ from someone else who may be listening.
Okay, so this is how it really went down. I mean, when I was born, my mom pretty much raised me by herself. And my dad was in Mexico still. He was working in Mexico, and something happened where my dad ended up in prison in San Pedro, California. So until the age of when I was 5 years old, when he finally got out, we were able to be a whole family together from the age of 5 all the way till I was 8 years old. My dad, I mean, he was a real strict person. He had me like a little soldier. So, I had to be home by the time he got home from work, make sure all my homework was done, make sure I was all washed up and, in case if we had to go anywhere. So he had me, like a little soldier. And when I was 8, he passed away in a car accident in Mexico. Drunk driver hit him. And from that time on, it really hit me hard. I was really, I felt like when my dad was alive, I had experiences with a lot of my dad's side of the family, going to parties, going to family events, and I felt that when my dad passed away, then everybody kind of like backed away a little bit. So it was just me and my mom from there on out, all the way till I moved out. Yeah, it hit me pretty good, the loss of my father. So I kind of I didn't have another father figure there. So my mom, did all she could do to raise me up, and regular old teenager, troublemaking things, here and there. I'm just thankful that I'm where I'm at now, thanks to my mom. She always had a roof over my head, food to eat. She took care of what she had to do so I could move ahead in life,
So how does your mom feel about you trucking?
When I barely got into this, she was happy for me because, I've loved trucking for a while now, and when I got into it, she was happy for me. But at the same time, she was worried. Nowadays at her age, she does worry about me being on the road, and things happen on the road, and watching the news and all this. So she's always telling me, be careful out there, watch yourself.
So how do you feel about your trucking lifestyle right now and where it's going?
I'm living right now really good. I'm really happy right now where I'm at in this point of my life. I do my trucking thing. My wife have a little business on the side. We have a little outlet store. So she runs that, and I have 5 beautiful kids. They're all going to school right now. One of them is about to go to college. So everybody's on track right now so far, and the main thing for me is I want my kids to have a better life than what I had. That's the main goal. I want them to have more than what I had. So that's why I work my butt off to get them to where they don't need anything. They just have it.
I see you have a genuine heart to provide for your family. I was wondering what kind of things that you had would you like your children to have?
Okay, well, the stuff that I would like my kids to have that I had is, my willingness to, to work hard, my motivation to, never give up and to keep on fighting, just never give up, and you eventually get to where you want to be if you just keep on fighting,
So we talked about how your mom felt about you trucking. How does your family feel about you trucking now?
In the beginning, when I was working local, they were all fine with it because I was coming home, and once in a while, they would ask me questions of how is it out there driving a big truck. They were just really curious about how it is to drive a big machine like that, and how to control it, and they just ask questions. So that fascinated me, and I like to share my moments on the road with them. And when I went over the road and I got to see more places out there, different states, and I got to see more of the United States, then they were more interested, and I got to explain to them the situations when you go over to a different state, how the rules change, and not only that, but also the way of living in other states, That made me feel really good, just telling them and them being interested in my life as a trucker.
And your wife, how does she feel?
Her as well. She was a big part of me getting my CDL. She really actually helped me out big time. She was in full support of me getting my CDL, and she actually got me into my first company job where she worked. So I was really grateful for that, for actually getting my license and getting into a company right away, working local. And from there on out, everything was lovely. She loved what I did, and the only other thing that made her kind of iffy is when I went over the road. That's when she kind of was, we weren't used to being away from each other for days. So in the beginning, it was kind of hard for her, me not being home every day. But as time went by, she got used to it, and it worked out, because when I got home from a week being out, when I got home, I received so much love from everybody when I got home. Everybody missed me. Everybody just hugged me and kissed me. Oh, you're home, Daddy, and you're home, everybody. But yeah, that was a great feeling, just, hey, man, this is going to actually work out. So, okay, cool.
Well, Edgar, moving on to the industry, what do you feel the public's perception of truckers is right now?
I think they see us, they think that we own the road. They don't, I feel that some people don't appreciate what we actually do for this country. I don't think they see the reality of what we do. Because I've talked to relatives, friends that are not in this industry, and I hear them always, not always, but the majority of the time talking about, oh, this trucker cut me off, this trucker is driving too slow, and this and that. So when I hear that from them and they're telling me and they know that I'm in the industry, I back on my fellow truckers up and let them know the reality of why things happen and why we're on the road, and we have different rules to follow on the road than regular four-wheelers out there. So I try to school them on a few things, and then after that they have a little change of heart, and they respect them.
So what do you feel is the number one problem in the industry today?
Biggest problem in the trucking industry, I'd say not a lot of respect out there. From what I've heard from, I have relatives that have been in the trucking industry for years, and I've heard their stories of how it really used to be back in the days to compared to how it is now. Not a lot of respect out there, trucking wise, driving wise, So I think we need to have a little bit more respect for each other on the road to be able to move along in a decent, timely manner.
So if you could do one thing to improve the industry, what would that be?
I'd say better compensation for what we do. I mean, there's companies out there that are just taking anybody out there and putting, how they say, butts on seats, and they need to better themselves in hiring and compensating the drivers that are out there that are really doing this job that we do the right way and the safest way.
How do you see the future of our industry?
I see the future of the industry the same, to be honest with you. I don't see anything changing other than putting more restrictions and more laws out there for us, where me personally kind of made it a little bit difficult once in a while to get my job done. But the rules are the rules, and we have to follow them, and that's all we can do right now. Just follow the rules and keep on doing what we do the best we can.
Edgar, if you had the ear of the trucking industry right now, what would you say to them?
If I can say anything to the trucking industry as a whole, I would say let's all work together. Let's all unite to make the road safer, to get our jobs done safer, to get it all done in a timely manner. And the most important part is just show respect to each other. We're all doing the same thing out there, no matter what company you're with, what you're hauling, what you're driving. We're all on the same roads. Let's have some respect for each other and continue just moving along and getting our freight to where it needs to go so we could all keep on living.
What kind of things do you like to do outside of trucking?
Well, outside of trucking, the one thing I love doing is coming home and spending some time with the family, especially my kids, my small little babies. I have a 5 and a 4-year-old, and they just love, having fun. And me being my age, I still, like to act like a little kid sometimes, and they love it when I get to their level and just play around, goof off with them. And my other hobby is playing sports. I love playing basketball. I love, now that I get to be home every day, now I'm able to head out to the park and play some basketball with my son. So I love doing that, playing sports and enjoying time with the family.
What about your favorite places to go?
When I was on the road, I gotta say my favorite place, scenery-wise, had to be Colorado. Colorado was really nice in the snow when it was winter time. I love seeing everything out there, how the mountains look with the snow. I just didn't like driving on it. I didn't like driving to Colorado, but I just would admire the whole scenery. It just looked really beautiful out there. The air was so clean, you could tell the difference from living in California to Colorado. The air is just so clean, so fresh. It's just wow, it's amazing.
Edgar, what do you do to improve yourself?
What I do to improve myself, being more organized. I've been really unorganized in trucking, paperwork, cleanliness. So what I've done is I've tried to maintain organization when it comes to inside my truck, paperwork, filing, cleanliness, as well as being more cautious with everything that I do, double check my inspections, make sure that everything is in order. So I say I've improved on that since I've took this position, and I think it's working out. It's making stuff a lot more easier for me.
What is your definition of success for a trucker?
I see success as a trucker when you're doing everything that you need to do when it comes to following the rules, following the law of the road, being on time to your appointments, getting things done when, your boss asks you to do something and you get it done in a timely manner, then you're succeeding in those ways. So I see, as long as you do what you gotta do when it's gotta be done, you'll succeed, of course.
One last question, Edgar. What kind of legacy would you like to leave, or how would you like to be remembered?
When I'm gone, I want to be remembered as a respectful human being. I want to be remembered as a great family man, a hard worker that never gave up, that worked his butt off for his family so his family could have everything they want. That's what I would like to be remembered as, a hard-working father, husband that really, really worked his butt off.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Real Life Trucker. If you would like to be interviewed for this podcast series, you can get in touch with us in one of two ways. The first is go to the website and fill out the online form. Once you hit submit, it will come directly to us. The other way is, of course, to hit our voicemail line at 615-669-9478 and leave us a message there as to when the best time to contact you is. Until then, be safe, and we will see you on the next podcast.